Today we're going to go through the steps of making a basic pinch pot teacup. When you're doing that, you're going to use one lump of clay to start, and then you're going to use the pinch pot method and the slip and score method to attach the handle of your teacup. We'll also have an old pencil tool that we can use for texture and then helping assist in our slipping and scoring. Once you get your clay, you want to get started right away. It's different than our modeling clay because you do not need to warm it up. It's already ready to go. Our earth fire clay is made with water, and so the more you squeeze it, the more it dries out, and then it will crumble and get more like dirt. If you add too much water, it gets like mud, so there's a happy balance there. Notice as I'm beginning my instruction, I'm not playing with my clay. I'm not touching it. I'm waiting until I'm ready to get started. Now that I'm ready to get started, the first step is to take a pinch of your clay off. This will be your handle. Notice the size difference. A lot of clay and just a little. Our handle does not need to be that big because even though we're making great teacups, they're not huge, so we need not that big of handles. The next step is going to take this large lump and do the pinch pot method to make it into the cup. Because we're using our earth fire clay, we need to have a little bit of moisture on our hands at times. So you'll dip your fingers, just 2 fingers of water, not huge scoops, just 2 fingers of water, and rub it on your hands to kind of keep a little moisture on your hands. Then you roll that lump into the ball or sphere. You might have to squeeze it a little bit, but not very hard. And it doesn't need to be a perfect ball or sphere. It just needs to be generally round like this. To do the pinch pot method, remember, you cup your hand to hold it kind of into a round sphere or ball. And then you take your thumb, you push it down into the center, not going all the way through because we just want to have a vessel, a place for our water or tea to go, but we don't want a hole all the way through like a tube. Once you have that started, now you're going to pinch the sides. That's why it's called the pinch pot method. Pinch using your thumb and sides of your finger like this, but on the wall. Pinch, turn around in a circle. Once it's large enough, you can put both thumbs in there, pinch around until you get a decent thickness. The thickness for our walls that we want is going to be about the size of your pinky or even your pencil. It can't be too small, too skinny. It will break, dry out, and even if it's really, really thin, it can be painful once we fire our earth clay. You know, it turns to stone like we learned last week, and if we have these skinny little pieces sticking, those are brittle and they can poke and hurt. As you do this, you're going to notice that your pot has some cracks, maybe little splits. You fix that situation by taking a fingertip of water and smoothing it out. One fingertip will smooth the whole edge. You will hear me say over and over again, only one fingertip of water. Like I was mentioning earlier, if we have too much water, our fire earth clay turns back to mud. So we can't have too much. So no scooping, no pouring, no dunking, just one tip of water to smooth out any edges. Now that I have a good size of my teacup, I don't have to leave it round. This is art. You can make it fun. Round is fun, but you can change the way you want your teacup to look. If you wanted to make a triangle teacup, why not? It's fun. Just pinch it out. If you want to keep it perfectly round, then move it back and keep it round. You don't want to mess with it too much, boys and girls, because if you do, it will start to dry out and then turn more to dirt instead of mud. It's a very delicate balance with our fire clay. It's not like our modeling clay where we can just smash it up and start again. We have to just go with it, make it quick, and then set it aside. Now that I have my nice round teacup, I want to make a handle. I'm going to actually make this into a coil. Remember, we want to have a little moisture on our hands. I'm feeling them get dried. A coil, remember, is a long, skinny snake of clay. Doesn't need to be that long because it's going to be a handle for this mug or cup. So after I get it, I don't know. Again, I think this pencil is a good thickness measurement. That seems to be pretty good. Now I'm going to curve it into a C. That C, whoa, that looks like a really big handle for this mug, for this cup. So what you're going to do is pinch off a little bit on each end until you get it to be more appropriately sized for you. You might like that big handle. Go for it. I wanted one that was more proportionate to my cup. Now that I have a decent handle, I need to attach it. Now, with our modeling clay, we just stick it on and it was good. But with fire clay, what happens is you need to glue it together with a method called slip and score. It's a little bit unique because we actually score before we slip, but it's the way that we glue 2 pieces of clay together. The reason why you need to do this is because earth fire clay shrinks as it dries. The water evaporates and the little pieces shrink just a smidge. So even if we shove these together really hard and really good and even smooth them out a little bit, we've still just taken 2 smooth pieces of clay and put them together like my 2 hands here. As it dries and it shrinks, they'll shrink apart from one another and one piece will fall off. So what we need to do is create little teeth to grab and hold on to. So as it dries, it shrinks together and it doesn't fall off. The way we do this is called slip and score. First thing you do is anywhere that this clay is touching this clay, so you can see on both ends, you take a tool, we're going to use little old pencils, and you scratch it up or score that part. Then you do the same thing to the other piece. We're making teeth on both ends. Scratchy scratch, scratchy scratch. Now we do the slip part, and the slip part is basically water or watery clay. For our purposes, we can just use our water. So I put a little bit of water on that spot, a little bit of water on those 2 spots. Now I smush it on, and it's going to stick better. Now, I don't want to just smush it like that. I want to also take a moment to smooth the edges together. You can use your finger. You can even take if you have a pencil like this, make sure you kind of clean off the gunk as you go to use it. You can even use a pencil to kind of smooth it out. Don't worry if you get pencil marks in your clay. When the clay goes in the kiln, it will burn off all those pencil marks and you won't see them. Then maybe do a little smoothy smooth. After that, there you go, you got a teacup. Now you don't have to end it there, especially if you have extra time. You can start to add decoration. I wanted to keep my teacup round, but I want to make an interesting edge. So I'm going to take my pencil and I'm just pushing in some dents to make a little bit of a different kind of rim or edge. Took a little bit of water on my finger to really smooth those out, and now I've created kind of just little bumps. Hopefully you can see those. You can also use your pencil to make marks in your clay, textures. Maybe you just want to do stripes. Maybe you want to leave it clean. Doesn't matter. We will be painting these with all kinds of colors, so you could add your designs and details with color after it's fired. Once you're finished, you have to just move on. Don't keep playing with it, or it'll keep turning drier and drier, or if you have too much water, muddier and muddier and not hold its shape. If you have extra clay, you'll just put that in the water bin, because I will recycle it and use it for clay or slip, and you'll put your initials on the bottom. If you know someone in class has the same initials as you, please put all 3 initials, your first, middle, and last name. These will be turned in at the back cabinet. You'll rinse your hands, and we'll carry on. I'm really looking forward to doing this project, so I hope everyone listened and figured out all the basic steps.